Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So, welcome to another market open stream and welcome to October. Today is the first day. Bitcoin kicks off Uptober and eyes an historical 22.9% gain. That's right. On average, Bitcoin gains 23% in October. Let's talk about it. Is it going to be different this time around? Because we're starting out October pretty bad. We got one big event happening. Is it going to disrupt things for good? Or will Bitcoin ignore it and continue further on? Let's discuss. Let's discuss all these things and more. All right, let's do it. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So Bitcoin is starting out today roughly the same as yesterday. We actually overnight, or you could say earlier this morning, we climbed back up to 64. Now we're down a little bit. And that's because the U.S. market is opening up in the red. It was looking like it was going to open in the green, but no, we got another hiccup. And this one is a big one. A lot of you guys already mentioned it yesterday, but there is a historic strike that's underway at the eastern and southern borders of the U.S. Okay, so basically all these employees at these ports want to go strike. And you know, that's kind of like what's happening right now, right? So some analysts think this is not going to be an issue, and some do, right? If there is a true prolonged strike, obviously this is going to affect things. Basically, half of the imports coming into the U.S. will be affected. And even a 1 week delay could add up to 6 months of delays. That's according to like someone that's aware of the situation, right? So it could be very disastrous. But on the other hand, there are some analysts that say this is not that bad because the White House has to come in and they're going to squash this. Basically, the White House could come in, talk to both sides and say, hey, I don't care what's going to take. You guys resolve it, because if you don't, the country's going to shut down, and that's very bad, right? So I don't know. We'll see. We have seen some of these strikes before with other industries, and they get resolved quite quickly. Sometimes they don't. So this is what's spooking the markets today. You know, I just don't know. It seems like the U.S. is the only country on the planet that still has unions, and I don't know. I'm not knowledgeable enough to make a comment on whether or not unions are actually good or bad for the country, because I could see it how you could see it from both sides, but it's just like, it's kind of tiresome if you think about it. Every single year or a couple of years, you hear about some major industry having a strike, and now we have this big disruption in this big industry. I don't know why we can't resolve it before it gets to a place like this. I don't know. Again, I'm not knowledgeable enough with how unions work and how these industries work, so can't really comment on it. But I can comment on the fact that this is probably going to disrupt today's market today, even though it's not that bad. It's not that bad. Dow's down about 200 points. NASDAQ down about 90 points, right? So I guess we'll see whether or not things can flip around today. Now, there are other things that's happening, okay, that is coming up. Today, actually, we're going to get some manufacturing data. Manufacturing data also is very important. The last few times manufacturing data came out, they were actually pretty bad, and actually that spooked the market more than anything. So today we will get manufacturing PMI data, and then we're also going to get an early jobs opening report from JOLTS. But then later this week, we're going to get ADP payroll report and non-farm payroll report on Friday. These all gives us a clue into the jobs or the labor force situation in the U.S. And of course, that is what Fed Chair Powell cares about, right? And it determines how good or bad the economy is. So we got a couple other things coming up, including a big manufacturing data that's coming out later today. All right, now with that out of the way, what else? What else is going on? We are starting out Uptober, okay, October, even though today is not starting out good. However, it's important to remember that the first 9 months of this year has been the best ever in history. Look at the returns going all the way back to 1950. Okay, the best first 9 months ever in election year. So okay, not every year, but like election year. So if you look at all the elections going all the way back, maybe not the best in history because this only goes back to 50. But anyways, you get the point. 70 something years. This year actually has been absolutely fantastic, returning a 20.8% return for the S&P 500. This is staggeringly good, right? The best first 9 months ever. So will October carry, right, the gains? Quite possibly, because October is supposed to be the best month even for the broader market. But as for Bitcoin, we did end up with a 7% gain in September. As bad it may have seemed, September was actually a good month. In fact, September, we just concluded the best September we've ever had in Bitcoin's history. Take a second to think about that. Out of all the years since the beginning, the September we just went through was the best we've ever had, which is quite amazing if you think about it. But we are starting October today, right? And as you can see, October is almost all green with a return of 22 something percent. It is absolutely great. So this is the month that we're in, right? And man, if you look at it, I mean, it's just, we got through the bad. We got through the bad. We're getting into the good. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. October is great, but then, you know, you look at November, December, they're not bad either, right? They're all looking good. Normally speaking, end of year, that's when things are really, really good. But right now, unfortunately, we're getting disrupted by this port situation, right? But we still have the full month to turn around. And yeah, I mean, we just have a lot of goodness going on. We have a lot of great things going on, right? And in case you have any doubts, here's something else that, let me remove my camera here. So in case you have any doubts, here are the last, first of all, the Octobers from the last 3 cycles, which is 2013, 2017, and 2020. And we have October from last year, and we have October in 2021. Every single cycle in October is when things start pumping. For whatever reason, October is the Uptober month in a big way. It jumpstarts things. Look at in 2020, how flat things were. That was the last halving year. When Bitcoin was stuck around $10,000, October hit, bam, right? Didn't stop. Hey, let's just go back to last year. Last year, Bitcoin was still stuck in the 20s. After coming up from all the Black Swan events, it was in the 20s, heading to 30s. Didn't seem like it was going to move. And then boom, October hit. And then that's when we started going up in a big way. Right? But it happens every single year. Maybe not at the beginning, not right at the first day like today, but it's going to happen. All right. So October, I've proven, has been good. Does that mean it's guaranteed to be good? No, I get it. You know, just because something have had this historical pattern does not make it a guarantee that it has to be just as great this time around, right? History doesn't always repeat, but it tends to rhyme. And we have a lot of data that shows that we are rhyming. First of all, we know that the whales are still piling in. Retail inflows are still low. Retail investors still don't quite believe. You know, the alts are still kind of weak. Memes are still kind of weak, even though we saw a little resurgence. But whales, the institutions, they are not stopping. They know. They continue to load up. And we know ultimately there is going to be a supply shock. And that means something. When you have more demand than supply, that adds up and means something, right? Metaplanet just kicked off another billion yen worth of Bitcoin purchasing. It sounds like a lot, but it's about $7 million worth. But still, they continue to add more and more and more and more Bitcoin. That's fine, right? They don't need to purchase like $100 million or $1 billion like Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy. Right? Even a little bit at a time adds up. So in total, they already have 500 Bitcoin now, right? Just through DCAing. But we have a lot of other big players that are probably coming in. Michael Dell just sells. He's very big on Bitcoin. All of a sudden sells about $1.2 billion worth of stock. What do you think he's going to do with that Bitcoin? I mean, what do you think he's going to do with that cash? Speculation, maybe he's going to be buying $1.2 billion worth of Bitcoin. Maybe he has billions of Bitcoin already. We don't know. Not everyone is so forthcoming in terms of their Bitcoin holdings, right? And like I said, the institutions are not stopping. Yesterday, even though it was kind of bad, we still had a $61.3 million inflow. And if you look at going, you know, to the beginning of September, even though September didn't look all that great, it didn't, especially the beginning of September, we crashed down into the low 50s and then we slowly recovered. September didn't seem like it was a great month at all, but we had the best September ever in Bitcoin's history. And look at all the inflows into the ETFs. These add up, especially the last 2 days of last week. Close to $1 billion of inflows, right? So, supply shock is still in play. Ignore short-term volatility. Focus on long-term fundamentals, right? And you'll be okay. You'll be okay. And you know what? Uptober is here. So even better. Even better. 100K bullish bets. Nearly 1 billion open interest on Dearbit. A lot of people are betting on $100,000 Bitcoin right now. Can't blame them. I do think 100,000 is still on its way by the end of this year. I still think so. And I think a lot of people agree with me. That's why it is the most bullish bet right now on Dearbit. And according to Plan B's model, right? Plan B's model is saying that we should be hitting $1 million by the end of next year. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen, but we are going to go a lot higher. We're going to go a lot higher. According to Stock to Flow. I don't know if it's been invalidated. A lot of people argue Stock to Flow has been invalidated because in 2021, it didn't hit $100,000. It was close. It didn't hit it. You could argue because the Fed pivoted and started raising rates. You could argue SBF was causing a lot of market manipulation. Had those two things not happened, Stock to Flow may have been right and Bitcoin could have hit $100,000. Right? And it seems like it's going up by 10 every single cycle. So does that mean we're supposed to go from $100,000 to $1 million this time around? I mean, I guess so, but I just, that's a little bit too aggressive. There is the power of diminishing returns, right? Those rainbow charts I show you. That's usually, I think that's more reasonable, but who knows? Who knows? It may happen. Anyways, again, more focus on October. You could see the last few times, March through October, generally speaking, not really good times. I mean, not horrible, but you could see in 2020, March through October, we had that nasty dip down to $4,000. And then, you know, we just kind of hovered, and October came around and boom, we just like started skyrocketing. Last year, same thing. March through October, we're stuck in the 20s. Nothing was happening, going sideways, and then boom, we went up to 73,000, right? And this year, you know, from March to October, or March to end of September, right? Really not a whole lot. We went down a little bit from 73,000 down to where we were yesterday, like 66 or 63. But you know, October is here. October is here. So let's see what's going to happen later this week, later this month. Are we going to have the same kind of movement? I'm excited. I'm excited. And then lastly, I'll show you this guy. I don't know who this guy is, but he makes a really good thesis here. Basically, using the 99th percentile power law regression model on Bitcoin's price data starting from July of 2013 till today, it's predicting that Bitcoin will top out in November of next year. So close, a little bit earlier than the end, November 1st of 2025. And it should top out around $275,000. So this is going all the way back to 2013, applying this power law regression model and extrapolating that, applying it to now, $275,000. That's not unreasonable. That is within line with what a lot of people think. So if you want some fancy charts, that's what it looks like. Again, I'm looking forward to it. All right, guys. That is it. Let's see. Let's see how the bad the U.S. market is due to this strike. NASDAQ is now picking up minus 215. Let's see. MicroStrategy's down about 2.6%. NVIDIA down 1.25%. Mara's down. Robinhood barely down a little bit. It's a down day, not a horrific down day. Let's see if this strike gets resolved. Let's see if Biden and company steps in and just tells them to fix things. All right. Let's do some Q&A. You know, since I'm not an expert with unions, this is a good poll topic. I'm gonna ask a poll here. Diego, don't ask like don't ask stupid questions like that. Come on now. All right, I gotta scroll up. Shane says unions are good. EU has a ton of them. And then someone else says Germany strikes are the worst. So some are saying good, some are saying bad. That's why I have the poll going. Let's see what everyone thinks. Well, so far, the poll, 55% thinks it's good. That's interesting. That's interesting. Because my perception is it would be like really lopsided toward the bad side. So I guess a lot of people really do like unions, huh? Okay. Well, that changes my mind on things a little bit. I had a beholder. All these bears want to make me put in 100x long. I mean, yes. I mean, it's unnecessarily bearish in this chat right now. Unnecessarily bearish. I think a lot of people are trolling. But yeah, it is definitely not this bearish. And here's the thing. Where's that chart I just had? Oh, where's... We just ended September, which is historically the worst month for Bitcoin, and we just broke and shattered records, right? The best September, we just had the best September ever in Bitcoin's history. Take a second to think about that. And I did say that. I did call that at the beginning of September. I said, hey, just because September is historically a bad month does not mean we have to end in red. We have a big FOMC meeting that could definitely pull us upwards. And that's exactly what happened. $57. Diego says NYC Union Carpenter here. $57 an hour and good benefits. That is kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy. Mike G says unions are a form of socialism. Don't fool yourselves. You know, I think I think this is a tricky topic. I think for people that are workers in unions, they love it. For companies, they hate it. So there's no right or wrong answer to this. Here, I'll play a counterpart to this. G7 Film says this. Unions are good. CEOs keep giving themselves 30 million bonuses. Unions fight for more benefits for workers. Okay, I'll make a counterpoint to this. I'll just play devil's advocate. Not that I think that this is actually right or wrong, but let's look at Ford, GM, and Chrysler, who's now owned by Fiat, who's now owned by Stanton Ellis, right? They all have union laborers. And they're struggling heavily against, say, Tesla. Tesla does not have union, as far as I believe. I don't think they have union. And Elon is the richest person on the planet, right? But he has found a way to make Tesla employees happy without unions. And they are arguably the most successful car company on the planet. So the counterpoint, I think, is you can have a company with a wealthy CEO and a company that does well and its employees that are happy. Jamie. Jazzy says unions have protected my wife from life-threatening work conditions. They can be abused, but they are mostly good. See, that's a good way. That's a good way to think about it, or that's a good example of why I guess unions are good. Yes, but those Tesla workers are not protected if something happens. But I mean, it's a free market, right? Workers are free to leave. If they don't like the conditions at Tesla, they could always go to another manufacturer. Same thing with any other company or any other job, right? And if a greedy CEO runs his company to the ground because he's paying himself 30 million a year, um, then that company goes bankrupt. So you have that argument, right? I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not fighting one way or another. Like I said, I don't understand it. I don't understand it enough. And I've never been in a union. I've never worked at a company that had the union. So, but I could see it from both sides. Free says I earn more money contracting because of unions and get paid daily. So there's one good side to unions. I'm getting to buy crypto every few days currently. What if Polygon had a union, Georgia? That yeah. Let's not go there. See this right here. This right here is just to like liquidate the longs. Like that's clearly what it is. Right? Whatever you see like just like a massive like dump out of nowhere, it's just really to liquidate the longs. That's all it is. If you look at actually, if you look at today, I don't know if you guys, it's hard to see, but like according to TradingView, like Bitcoin's only down 0.7% right now. But you look at like Pepe's up 4% versus where it was yesterday. FET is up 6% versus where it was yesterday. So yesterday must have been like down here at opening bell. So a lot of things are actually still up versus yesterday. Bonk is up 5% versus yesterday. SHIB is up 2% versus yesterday. Even Stacks is up 0.6% versus yesterday, even though it fell down from this morning. Solana's up 0.8% from yesterday. So things were a lot better this morning before this happened, and I think that's just really to wipe out the longs. Dow falls 250 points as oil spikes on rising Middle East tensions. Okay, so CNBC is saying that the cause of today's red is not due to the strike, but it's due to the Middle East tensions, which, that could be the case, or a combination of both. Crypto Mac. DXY doesn't look good. Let's pull up a DXY chart. Well, DXY just tanked. DXY just tanked. Well, not tanked. It just like started going down. DXY going down is not a bad thing. So, wow, you could actually chart the halving events against the DXY. That's actually kind of cool. That's interesting. That's actually interesting. So you could see after a halving event, right? Generally speaking, DXY falls after a halving event, except in this case. Not sure why. Just a coincidence, I guess. But anyways, whenever a DXY falls, it's a good thing for Bitcoin. It's an inverse correlation. Like right here. I'm sure. Yeah, I'm too lazy to kind of overlay Bitcoin on top of that, but I'm sure there's something that you could get from that. But DXY has been falling from here, which is June. From June, it was like 106. Now it's about 101. A lot of it also had to do with Japan raising their rate like a month ago. That brought things down also tremendously. When around what date is the top forecaster looking to take profits? Well, according to this one person, the top will be November 1st, 2025, when Bitcoin hits $275,000. So, we'll see. A year from now, I'll still be streaming. And we'll see what the price is then. And if it's at $275,000, then I'll be quite shocked in a good way. Just Neil, did the Feds ruin altcoin season last season with raising interest? Yes. You could argue that we didn't hit $100,000, which I really thought we would in 2021. Because in December, that's when, actually in November of 2021, that's when Powell came out and said, we will start raising rates soon. So that's kind of like, in hindsight, when he declared that, that's when like we knew everything was going to start coming down, right? That was the top. So Bitcoin just stopped at 69,000. Alts basically stopped going upwards, and that was the end of that. So that was 2021. This time around is different. This time we're going in reverse, right? We're not having, for the first time in how many years, we're not having to worry about Powell saying we're going to raise rates. We're going to start cutting rates. So Beast of Wotan. Yeah, there's a lot of impersonators, a lot of channels that's using AI. If you see any of those, just report them. I've reported many of them, but there's always more that come out. But yeah, make sure you report them if you see them. Man, today is starting out. Today is starting out bad. Oh, Middle East. Iran may be preparing to attack Israel right now. Oil is spiking up. We got a big supply chain port strike happening. A lot of bad things happening all at the same time. Yeah. We're starting Uptober not in a good way. Not in a good way. Abdul, thanks for sharing that. He does watch me. He says that. I know he watches me. So that's good. I guess I gotta end this poll. 55% of people think unions are good. 1,400 people voted. 55% says it's good. That's surprising in a way. Yeah, so those of you guys that are tuning in late, this is what we're dealing with today. But you know what? I'm staying bullish because I still believe in Bitcoin. I still believe that October is here. October is starting. All previous cycles, we've had fantastic Octobers. It's the start of the parabolic run. Maybe not day one, but sometime in October is when it starts. We still have great macro conditions or bettering macro conditions that support it. We have growing fundamentals that support it. We still have institutions and whales buying up supply. So everything is still aligning, but war, that's a tricky one. Supply chain strike, that's a tricky one. So we'll see. We will see. Let's see. Best way to do it is just stay the course. Continue to DCA. Dollar cost average. And focus on the future. That's really it. That's really it. All right, guys. I'll let you guys go. Stay strong, my friends. I'll see you guys tonight. Let's see where today brings us. I don't know if NBC is correct. Hopefully this is not happening. But if it does, it could potentially disrupt things. And let's see if this gets resolved soon. But Uptober is here. So, yeah, it's here. I'll see you guys tonight. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel. Have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.